So it's time for another unboxing and first look at yet another iPhone here. This is the iPhone XR. I think this is the best value iPhone you can get right now, or probably the best value phone if you want a higher end phone. Still is plenty fast and can compete with higher end Android devices with the A12 Bionic. Of course, this is the 64GB variant, only really available size, at least where I bought it on sale, and only available in black. So let's just unbox this iPhone. Of course, same unboxing experience as a lot of Apple devices lately. I have a little pull tab down there at the bottom of the box, and of course just pulled it all the way through the top here, and very nice and easy to open this box. Just covered my serial number with that subscribe label, but anyways, let's just have a closer look at the actual content of this box. Apple always have a great unboxing experience with their devices, and of course you're met here with Designed by Apple in California. And let's just see what we actually get in this little folder here. I suspect nothing special. This is the Northern Europe version, so Scandinavian version. That's why all the writing is in Scandinavian languages. So of course, depending on what country you live in, you'll get the language for that region. And of course you get the SIM eject tool here. Never really uses the tool that comes with my phone. I have plenty of them laying around the house, but of course always nice and of course mandatory to be included nowadays. And a safety instructions, never gonna read those. And you get of course those fancy Apple stickers. No black or space gray stickers here, just the plain white ones. But let's get the phone out here. A little pull tab in the bottom of the phone here, and just pull it out like so. Really nice design. I like the all black look, but of course that's a matter of preference. And of course let's dig a little deeper, find that 5V 1 amp adapter we have seen with iPhones for many years now. Nothing really interesting there, so let's put that to the side. Next off, of course, you get the earbuds, and of course no headphone jack, so these is just the lightning earbuds, which are just fine. Nice to have as a backup if you forgot to charge your Bluetooth headphones. And lastly, we find the lightning cable, just a standard lightning to USB type A 1 meter cable. Again, we have seen those for so many years now, so nothing really new or special here, but great to have at least for backup. And of course you plug it into the included power adapter. Don't really recommend using the power adapter that's included. Use something that has more than 2 amps of charging capability, or use something with power delivery so you can charge your phone a little faster. But it will get you started. That's pretty much about it. But let's get the main character in the show here. Of course, the iPhone XR. It received a lot of negative feedback because of its lower in abstract resolution. People seem to preference or think that higher resolution is equal to better screen quality, but those things doesn't really or necessarily have anything to do with each other. LCD screens have higher pixel density, at least if you compare it to OLED screens that uses pentile matrix array. And of course, great LCD screen and great pixels is definitely something much more appreciated than higher resolution of a lower quality screen. So not really an issue. It's a fantastic screen. And of course you can see it's the all black version. All black, both front and back. Of course the aluminium ring or aluminium case around the glass sandwich here is also all black. I really like this look. But let's just unpeel that protective layer. So now it's not new anymore. Let's just put that to the side and have a closer look at the phone itself, and actually try and turn it on and see if there's any power on here. Usually iPhones come with at least 70% of juice, at least that's my experience. So let's see if we can actually turn it on. And you need to actually hold that for quite a few seconds to actually turn the phone on, and of course just let go when you see that Apple logo. And right off the bat, I don't really think it's a bad screen. You can always see the high contrast ratio of LCD screens if there's any backlight bleed. Of course, I have a lot of light here in my little studio, so maybe a little hard to see, but the screen looks close to black. So that's at least the first good sign. But first step, of course, is to put in a SIM card. And let's just go through that setup process. It should be fairly easy. If you already have another iOS device, which I do, but of course just select language and then select area. I live in Denmark, so that's what I'm going to choose, but it is a little wobbly, so let me just put a case on it. I bought a cheap silicone case, so let's just put that on. That's definitely much better. You can see now it doesn't really wobble, but yeah, let's put in the pin code and let's go through the setup process. So I'm going to try and set it up using my iPhone 11 Pro Max. As long as you unlock your phone within range, you should just get this little pop-up notification and you should be ready to go. Just point the camera towards that weird logo there, which I just did. And then of course, put in the pin code of your current iPhone. This process can take quite some time. I've sped up the process here 8 times. And then you should get to the Face ID page, and I definitely recommend using Face ID. That is just so much easier. And my preferred, at least, login method. I really miss it when I'm on other phones, and that's also why I'm when going back to iPhone as my or for a secondary phone. Still need to carry 2 phones because my current phone supplier doesn't support eSIM, so that's why I bought another iPhone instead of I had previously a Huawei Mate 30 Pro, which was an excellent phone, but I just missed Face ID and been able to get text messages across devices, my MacBook, iPad and such, and of course between the 2 phones here. But next screen here, you're asked if you want to transfer from my other iPhone or if I want to pick everything from the cloud, but I'm just going to set this up as a fresh device. I have a 512 gigabyte iPhone 11 Pro Max, and this is only a 64 gigabyte variant. Don't really plan to have anything on here other than the apps that I frequently use. Maybe a photo now and then, but my 11 Pro Max is definitely my primary phone. But you can see it does take quite some time. But if you're successful, you should be met with this screen that you should just continue on your new iPhone. So you can just remove the other phone you have used to set up your iCloud account. And of course, select if you want to restore from an iCloud account or from a iTunes backup and such. I'm just going to set this up like a new one, like set. And again, you have to wait quite some time to actually connect to the servers or whatever is doing to set up your device. Of course, enabling iMessage and registering it to Apple or to your iCloud account. Do you want to have your local services turned on? I do prefer that. Apple Pay, I'm gonna select that later. Siri, I do want to use Siri as well, and I don't want to share my data, analytics data with Apple. Not for Siri or not for the phone analytics. I'm gonna choose standard here, but you can also go zoom if you want to have bigger icons, but of course that's totally up to you. I do prefer to have more real estate, but of course if your eyes is not all that great, it could be a benefit to have a little bigger icons. And let's just go to home screen. You can see here you're taken through the guide of using the newer gesture motion that was introduced with iPhone 10. Just of course swipe up to get you started and swipe between apps. And let's just actually get into the phone first time here using Face ID. You can see it works quite reliably, and I have had no issues with Face ID. It is excellent. Only when I use sunglasses that has a reflective coating that can sometimes cause some issues. Anyways, let's go in about phone here, and you can see it comes with just above 51 gigabytes of available storage of its 64 gigabyte. So that's pretty decent. And it comes with software version 13.3, and software version 13.4 is the latest as of this video, which I'm just installing now. And let me get back in 2 seconds when I've installed that update and installed some apps to do some benchmarking. So I've installed iOS 13.4, and you can see it's the same version as my 11 Pro Max here on the right. So let's just do some benchmarks. First off, let's run speed test. Of course, 11 Pro Max has Wi-Fi 6, and I do have a Wi-Fi 6 router versus the iPhone 11, the iPhone XR does not have Wi-Fi 6. It does have Wi-Fi AC, and it's only in abstracts a 2x2 MIMO, where the iPhone 11 Pro Max is a 4x4 MIMO. So it should be a little slower in Wi-Fi. Does it matter in real life? I don't think so. I do have a 1 gig up and a 1 gig down connection. So you can see I'm not even reaching that with my iPhone, only around 3 meters from a router where I am right now. And you can see the XR is not quite as fast. It is a little more than 100 megabytes slower in download speed and around 100 as well in upload speed. So it is a little slower. I haven't noticed it in day-to-day usage when just browsing the web, streaming videos and such. It is definitely fast enough for those scenarios. So you are losing a little performance, but you will not really notice it in your daily life. But let's just try and actually test LTE or 4G performance. Of course, I have switched off Wi-Fi. I have the same phone carrier in both the phones. Of course, let's just try or start out with the 11 Pro Max. It does, at least on paper, have faster gigabits LTE speeds, which the XR do not have. So I at least think it should be a little faster. That's my at least initial thought. So let's just test it out. 146 download, and I'm getting around 40 megabits per second upload. And let's just test the same, of course, server, and let's just hit go here on the XR. And like I said, same carrier on both phones. And you can see here, it is definitely not as fast, around 40-50-ish slower in download speed, 40-ish megabits per second slower download. And let's just see when it comes to the upload speed here, how fast it actually is. And that's actually pretty much the same, maybe a little faster, but that's maybe within the tolerance of error here. But it is definitely slower when it comes to LTE performance. Nothing major, pretty much the same story as with Wi-Fi. A little bit faster, but nothing really you're going to notice in day-to-day life, unless of course you're running benchmarks like this one. And next off is Geekbench. This is Geekbench 5. So of course you should not compare it to earlier versions of Geekbench, because you're going to get significantly lower scores. But let's just see how well it actually does. I have sped up the process 20 times, just to not bore you with these benchmarks here. But you can see 11 Pro Max is the first one to finish, and single core 1326 and multi-core 3251. It is significantly faster than the iPhone XR with the A12 versus the A13, but in day-to-day life you're not going to notice it. And you can see XR just finished 1113 single core, and multi-core is 2404. So around 1000-ish faster in multi-core score on the 11 Pro Max. Let's run the compute benchmark as well and see how well it compares to the 11 Pro Max. This benchmark doesn't take quite as long, so I've only sped it up 8 times. But you should see after a few seconds here, the 11 Pro Max, it definitely ahead, and it finishes way ahead of the XR. And you can see I'm getting 6,342 in metal score, which is quite impressive. And let's just wait for the XR to finish. Haven't sped up this part, so let's just see how far behind it actually is. And it just finished, and around 2,000 less at 4,403 metal score. So it is definitely slower, at least if you're running these synthetic benchmarks. But the XR should not be incapable of running any software or games within the App Store, and it should last you many years to come with this kind of speed. Camera is probably the area where you're going to lose most in terms of, if you compare it at least to the 11 series, just the regular 11 or the 11 Pro Max, at least when it comes to night photography and the Fusion camera software. And also, of course, you'd only have one lens with the XR. You don't have the wide angle or the telephoto and wide angle as you do on the 11 Pro Max. You don't even get the newer UI that you have with the 11 Pro Max series. And I really like that. I've grown accustomed to it, just holding down the shutter button, and you can start a video recording. And you can see here the square menu is not on the 11 Pro Max. You have to go in and set the resolution within the settings of that app. But you can see if I hold down the photos button on the XR, it will just continue to take photos. And on the 11 Pro Max, I can start a video recording quickly here. That's a feature I've grown quite accustomed to, and I really like that, and something I'm going to miss. So yeah, definitely a great camera. But if you compare it to more recent phones from Apple and of course from other suppliers, it leaves something to be desired. It still holds its own, and again, for this price point, you do also get portrait mode, but only works on humans, so no objects, unfortunately, like other iPhones do. And let's just get back to that screen and that low aspect resolution that many people have complained about. It is a very sharp screen, definitely not a low resolution screen, and it is very bright, and the color accuracy is excellent. Not only the black and the gray levels are quite impressive, and as you can see here, text is crisp and sharp. So definitely not a bad screen. It is a Retina screen, and the resolution is more than sufficient. And the positive side is that this phone has excellent battery life. This is a 2, sometimes 3-day battery life or battery hog for me. This is my secondary phone, but if I use it as a primary phone, I should definitely get 2 days. But you can see here, screen looks great. Black is very close to black, at least when you have some light shining down towards it in the evening time. Of course, when you are turned off your light or your room light and such, the screen does look a little more grayish than the AMOLED screen here on the right, but it is definitely a very sharp and crisp screen, and color accuracy is excellent. So it actually holds its own against an OLED screen, and you can see the black areas of the picture actually looks quite black and like the OLED screen on the right. It is pretty close. Maybe a little more saturated on the right side, a little more natural colors on the left side, but it is a fantastic screen. I have no complaints here at all. Face ID seems to be pretty much as fast as my 11 Pro Max, and I believe that iOS 13 is actually the biggest improvement here. My XS Max back in the days when I upgraded it to iPhone or iOS 13, it was also quite a bit faster. And you can see here, very reliable, and it also hits a lot of different angles that my 11 Pro Max also does. My 11 Pro Max seems a little bit more accurate at more extreme angles, but that's a minor thing. And I think there's definitely no issues. Face ID or face unlock here is just the best unlocking method in my opinion in this day and age. I kind of forgot to film the speaker quality, but when you listen to music and videos on YouTube and such, it is very similar to 11 Pro Max and 10s Max on 10s and 10 series phones. So definitely great speakers, stereo speakers, and you have great stereo separations at a very impressive low end and mid-range as well. So yeah, in 2020, I highly recommend this phone. If you can get it on sale, go and buy it. It's a fantastic phone. It will last you many years to come. I believe Apple is usually updating the phones with software at least 5 years, and the CPU here should be able to handle a 5-year update as well. So definitely great phone. Go ahead and get one if you can. I hope to see you again in a future video, but that's been it for this one. Take care.